Here we go, Black America.
This is simultaneously kind of disgusting. It's insulting as hell, but I can't put my finger on it. On one hand, Joe Biden's been saying this.
And especially those moments when this campaign was at its lowest ebb, the African-American community stood up again for me. You've always had my back, and I'll have yours.
And then just the other night when he was in an interview on MSNBC, he said this.
You promised Black America that you'd have our back. Do you feel you have our backs?
I have your back.
In this video, we're going to debunk, expose, and knock the bottom out of this whole little narrative they got going. And you're going to be able to take this information, share it with your friends who may be lost in the sauce. My name is Tim Black. This is Calling It Out. Right after the State of the Union address, Joe Biden goes on. MSNBC has a conversation with Jonathan Capehart. Capehart asks him a question about black folks.
Black America, that you'd have our back. Do you feel you have our backs?
I have your back, and as much as any president has in American history since Lyndon Johnson. Black wealth has increased by 60%. We across the board. And I wish you ought to interview some of the business people here, the black leaders who are here. And they told me about how they're moving. They have loans. They have direct payments that are being made by the government to keep them going. Look, there's not a single thing they can't do given a shot. Just given a shot. It's not only black, but Hispanic and Asian Americans.
Well, it looks like Joe Biden stopped taking the medicine that he took during the State of the Union address because he's back to being old Sleepy Joe now. Right back to stumbling and fumbling and barely could put the sentence together. And Jonathan Capehart is a horrible interviewer. This interview that Jonathan Capehart gave is not even a softball interview. Softball would be too hardball. This is a cotton ball interview. Gave by a man that's obviously still picking cotton, and that's Jonathan Capehart. Jonathan Capehart is one of the worst, whatever you want to call these people, that are on cable news. Every time I hear him, I wonder, how did he get the job? How did he get the job? But going back to Biden, there's this thing that the Democrats are doing, and this is how they plan to get votes. They plan to have Joe Biden and the rest of the Democratic Party mouthpieces that talk to black people, the black whisperers, to keep regurgitating nonsense, phony ideas, cooked books, BS numbers, and selling it like, hey, you just don't get it, man. You're doing great, black people. Oh, man, you're doing so amazing. It's wow, tremendous. You guys are killing it. Meanwhile, you're literally dying. You're literally being evicted. You're literally being foreclosed on. That's your reality. And you're going to have Jasmine Crockett, Joy Reid, Dr. Jason Johnson, the whole shebang, Kamala, all of them coming out to tell you how stupid you are, how you don't get it, particularly Jim Clyburn, that you don't know just how well you're doing. So let's break down this, man. First of all, this is not the first time that Joe Biden has claimed that black Americans are doing so well in the racial wealth gap category. And before I even say that part, notice how when Joe Biden's talking about black people, he got to throw in the Asians and the Hispanics. No one does that when they talk to Asians.
There's not a single thing they can't do given a shot. Just given a shot. It's not only black, but Hispanic and Asian Americans.
If Jonathan Capehart was Asian and he said, what are you doing for the Asian people? Do you have our backs? Joe Biden wouldn't start talking about black people. He wouldn't throw in there, well, the blacks are doing good too. No, that ain't what we ask you. That's not what we're talking about. It is really condescending. When he talks to women, he don't bring up men. He doesn't say, oh, yeah, the women want to know about what you're going to do about Roe versus Wade. He doesn't end it with going, yeah, and guys are doing pretty well too. We got something there for the testicles. We got some stuff we're doing for the erectile dysfunction disease. Why doesn't Joe Biden do that when he talks to women? Because that would be disrespectful. So just a little something For all my progressive white friends, all my conservative white friends, all my white friends on the globe, guys. A lot of you watch this show. When you're talking about black people stuff, it's okay to keep talking about black people stuff. Don't throw in Native Americans. Don't throw in Asians. Don't throw in Hispanics. Don't throw in the LGBTQ community. Just keep it there. That's a sign of respect. It means I see you. I recognize you're important enough for me to talk about what's going on with you and your people. So first, let's start with the racial wealth gap because that's where Joe Biden starts, okay? He also brought this up when he was in South Carolina. He gave a horrible speech. For some reason, people clapped. They must have been paid to clap. Someone must have been holding up a please applaud sign. Remember this at the Emmanuel Church?
Farmer for these things. You know, we're growing back black wealth. Well, we have a lot more to do. The racial wealth gap is the smallest it's been in 20 years under my watch.
So when we first look at the racial wealth gap, we got to look at the wealth ratio. And that's just like how black wealth compares to white wealth. So here's what Biden is claiming. Biden is claiming that black wealth, racial wealth went up so much. In 2022, for every $100 that a white family has, a black family had $15.75. For every $100 the white family has, the black family has $15.75. That's actually better than it was. That is the closest black people have been to white wealth in the last 20 years. Yeah, and Biden's applauding that. Applauding it. It used to be much lower, $13. Now it's $15.75 for every $100. Instead of saying, hey, that's still way too low, he's going, hey, we're making progress. We went up a whole $1. You're still grossly less, almost identically where you were, but it did went up a little, so. This is what the Democratic Party is running on for black people. This is what all of the black whisperers by the Democratic shills, all of the Democratic Party talking heads that come out and talk to black people and tell us how dumb we are, we don't listen. This is what Roland Martin's telling us. This is what Joy Reid's saying. This is what the Native Pod is talking about. This is what they're saying. This is what they're going to try to sell you. Is this $15.75 for every $100? And they call that winning. If I had $100, for every $100, if you had $15, would you consider yourself winning? The answer is pretty simple. No, not even close. But to Biden and the Democrats, the Democratic establishment, and the corporate news media, they want you to think that is what winning looks like for black people. Let's keep going. The other part of this, in the racial wealth gap, is also the dollar amount difference. In 2022, the average white family wealth was $285,000. Now, there's going to be some white families that have a lot more and some that have a lot less. The average white family, $285,000. The average black family, $45,000. Okay? 285 to 45. You can do the math. $240,000 difference. That's the widest it's been since 1989. Biden doesn't want to talk about that because that got worse. White people end up getting more money, having more wealth than they had before, and black people have less. So he won't be discussing that part. But that's how you come to a determination about what the racial wealth gap is. I've had Dr. Sandy Dirty on my show. He's an economist. He's discussed this. We've had it. We've talked about it. Dr. Derek Hamilton. I've had a number of doctors on my show. Dr. Elwood Watson's been on. Dr. Cornell West has been on. I've had several doctors, not just me reading articles and reading books, but actual professionals in academic professionals, doctorate degree having people that teach, have come on this show that you're watching and exposed this, worked it out, broken it down for us. Become a member of the Calling It Out Squad. This is what we do. So this is bogus as hell what Joe Biden's selling. It's horrible. It's phony. These are them spending the numbers. This is them trying to get black votes without giving anything for black people. And anybody watching, tell a friend, say, look, Tim Black had this episode. It's on the racial wealth gap. It's on what Joe Biden's selling. Joe Biden's bringing it up. Here goes the truth about it, and hit play. Or send them the link. Let them watch for themselves. We have to wake people up. It's the only chance we got. So then we go on to the other part of this. This is where Joe Biden said 60% of black wealth has increased.
Black wealth has increased by 60%. We across the board.
I don't know where they get this number, 60% more wealth. I don't understand what they're saying. Doesn't make sense. But I can tell you where they're saying the numbers came from. They're saying since the pandemic, that 2.6 million jobs have been added. 2.6 million black jobs have been added. Joe Biden hasn't created black jobs. Here's what really happened, folks, and I want you to lean in here. Lean in here. Here, this. There were a lot of jobs that went away because of the shutdown. When those jobs closed down, people lost their jobs because you couldn't go to a job when it was closed. After the pandemic opened back up, people went back to work. Is that a new job or is that you going back to your old job? That's people going back to their old jobs, Johnson. These are not new jobs. People, 41% of black businesses that closed during the pandemic have not reopened. Luckily, some businesses did reopen. People went back to work. Those are not new jobs. Those are not new black jobs. They're not new white jobs. They're just jobs, and people went back to work. Joe Biden is counting jobs that closed because he closed them with mandatory lockdowns. He's counting that as new jobs. Isn't that some dirty nonsense? Yeah, you can't go in your room for a week. Then you let them go in the room and say, hey, it's your new room. Damn, Dad, it looks like the room I already had. Because it is. It's not a new room. Oh, no. And since you're a black kid, it's a new black room. This is what the Democrats are doing. Instead of actually doing things that make your life better, so they can say, hey, thanks for those 95% of your votes, 90% of your votes, black community, almost twice as many than white voters. They say, hey, we're just going to put lipstick on a pig and call it Erykah Badu. Yeah, we're going to put lipstick on a pig and give her a name. We're going to call this pig Jill Scott. But that ain't Jill Scott. Jill Scott's a beautiful black woman. This ain't her. This is a pig named Jill Scott. This ain't Erykah Badu. Believe me, it's not Erykah Badu, but it is a pig named Erykah Badu. This ain't the same thing. I know what Erykah Badu is. I know what she look like. This ain't her. This is a pig. Where you get this pig from? This is what the Democratic Party is doing. And they got all these talking heads that go, yeah, that's what Erykah Badu. No, that's not Erykah Badu. No, that's Jill Scott. That's not Jill Scott. That's Rihanna. No, those are pigs with lipstick on them. That you are naming them, these famous, beautiful icons. You understand what I'm saying here? You get where I'm coming from? They had the earned income credit. This was a great thing. People were getting their tax money up front each month. That money was going for families, and those families were able to lift those black children out of poverty. So 40% of black children were being lifted out of poverty because of a part of the plan in that legislation. But guess what happened? It got removed. It ended. And it could not come back because they didn't have the votes. Get what I'm saying? So Joe Biden is still counting the 40% of black kids that were pulled out of poverty on a plan that no longer exists. Make it make sense, Johnson. Make it make sense. Listen to me. This is what the Democrats do. This is why I get so angry. Because people say, Tim Black, why you get so angry with the Democrats? Because they lie. They lie. They gaslight people into thinking they're doing great things. And they're not. Is it more than Trump? I don't know. But it's not enough, whatever this is that you're doing. You're lying and saying we're still getting those 40% of black children out of poverty when that ended over a year ago. They are still counting that today. It's part of how great black people are doing. Also, they're counting the stimmy money. They're counting stimulus money, which gave people more money, as if those people still had that money. And we all know that money gone. He still counts that as wealth. It was stimulation money. It's not wealth building money. That's not wealth. If you have wealth, you can't spend it in less than a year. $4 billion worth of infrastructure investment, roads, highways. He's calling that investment into the black community when there are roads and highways all across the country that got built or that are in the process of being built. But that's not wealth for black people. That is a road. A road to nowhere. That ain't a road. How are we getting credit? How are you saying you're helping black people by helping roads and highways? That helps America. See, they use language. They use language to deceive us. They say they're helping black people. What they're doing is rebuilding the infrastructure of the country. And they say, well, you live in the country, so it's black rebuilding. Yeah, they're rebuilding roads that they should have done 30 years ago. And they're saying, since black people use this road too, we're going to say it's a black road we're rebuilding. When it's just roads, man. Roads anybody can drive on. Roads that are just there. The other part of it, internet access. There are certain parts of the country that have very bad internet access. They are working on increasing that in part of the connectivity program. That's the name of it, Affordable Connectivity Program. So some people get to pay some money to have faster internet speeds. Black people will benefit from this. This is not the black internet. This is not black people's internet, black people connectivity program. This is America Affordable Connectivity Plan. That helps everybody. It's not a special speed for black people. It's not something you put in there for black people to have a better speed or more speed or get a better internet access. No. But this is what the Democrats do. Once again, folks, they use language to deceive us and try to make believe that black people are getting something special. Ain't nothing special happening. We're at the bottom of the barrel. The country is moving on without us. The funds are flowing to Ukraine. They're flowing to the migrants. They're flowing to other issues, bombs. They're flowing to Israel. They're not flowing to the black community. And Joe Biden says, I got your back. If this is what having my back looks like, I don't want it. Because it's not enough. It's not helping enough. Folks, it's time to stand up. It's time we all stand up. I know there are people saying, hey, don't care about this stuff. It don't make no difference. It don't, never mind. Well, you know what? Let them say that. Listen, we have to be smarter than that. We have to see that Joe Biden is selling us some snake oil. He's lying to us. Every question that we ask the Democrats should not be responded with, but what about Trump? I'm talking about you. I'm talking about the Democratic Party. Black Americans don't vote Republican. We vote Democrat. So that's who we're showing up to ask questions of. I'm asking the Democratic Party, where's our supper? Where's our infrastructure? Where's our connectivity? Where are our jobs? Where are our business opportunities? Where is our business investment for black Americans? We built this country for free, and we only have $15 for every $100 a black family got. A white family has. Think about that. If a white family has $10,000, we barely have over 1,000. Johnson, do the math. The math ain't mathing.